Welcome back, everybody, to the Zanchin Automotive Center here in Vaughan, Ontario. We have game 2 out of 2. It is between the Redeemer Royals and the hometown Humber Hawks. Zach Benoit alongside Mr. Matt Hamill. I've finally arrived here from getting my new set of grills, partner. Glad to be here on the mic with you and very excited to watch some soccer action here.
Yeah, should be a good one, partner. We have the visiting Redeemer Royals taking on the Hawks. Now it's a battle of Humber, the second place team in the OCAA, taking on a Redeemer team who finds themselves a little further down in those OCAA women's soccer standings. But Zach, I'm glad you could be here with us. You know, we had a real barn burner of a first game of our doubleheader. The men's teams, that game really showing Humber's offense on full display, a 5-1 victory. So for the ladies, by way of Redeemer, they're certainly looking to maybe have a different outcome here. But Zach, we're glad to hear everything is all clear for you at the dentist. No cavities?
No cavities. We're looking good right now. But no, back to the action here. It's going to be a good one. You know, this Humber Hawks team, they've been performing very, very well to start the season. We mentioned their record. They sit 4-1-2 on the year. And, you know, there was a little part of their season where things kind of went into a bit of a lull. It was that game against Conestoga into Niagara. They were missing some key players on offense. One of those key players being Kaylee's Calendar. She missed 2 games because she got a hand injury. She had to sit out those 2. And Humber actually didn't score for 180 minutes, and that's something that, you know, we don't typically see from that team all that often. But, you know, when you look at this Hawks lineup and what they've been able to do so far this year, and since that 180 minutes where they didn't score, they've bounced back rather nicely. 2-1 win against Fanshawe, and then a 1-0 win last time out against Mohawk. And that one came from Chantel Spala, who scored the goal. And Spala, she'll be the front and foremost attacking player here for Humber in this match.
And Zach, this game on the backdrop of a 3-game homestand for Humber. So this being game 2 of that 3-game stretch. And as we enter the sort of fourth quarter, you could say, of the regular season, for Humber, it's an important couple of games ahead. As again, we look at those OCAA West Division standings, the Hawks in second place with their 4-1-2 record. Niagara Knights sit atop the West Division with their 4-0-2 record. You know, Zach, for Humber's women's team, the defense certainly has been strong throughout the course of the season. Only 4 goals allowed over the course of these 7 games they've played. And looking to keep that number low as they take on a Redeemer team who has scored 6 goals this year and allowed 6. And that's kind of put them at a record that hasn't allowed them to take home too many wins. Hoping to find one here today as we're almost getting this one going.
Yeah, well, like you said, Redeemer, they're sit 2-3-1 on the year. They are winners of their last 2, though, and that's put them in an okay spot going forward. This West Division, the OCAA, it is a really tight-knit division. Redeemer, they sit at 7 points. First place is Humber and Niagara, tied at 14 apiece. So by no means is this a bad Redeemer team. This is a team that's on the rise right now. It should be very interesting to see what strategy comes out from these ladies in red.
Yeah, 2 teams that are riding into this game on a 2-game win streak. And so we'll see which team can keep the good vibes going and which team sees their winning streak come to an end here today.
Majority of the time we see Humber have this kind of a slow brewing attack where the early game, it's just them on defense, working the midfield, and then they pounce. So it'll be interesting to see, does Redeemer see that from, you know, studying film or anything like that, where they can kind of just take their own attack onto the Humber Hawks, as we have Chantel Spala cutting through the middle of the field here and drops it back to Oliveira. Up the side, they're trying to connect with Calendar and just a little bit out of her reach.
The sun setting here on a beautiful first day of October, but the temperature is a dropping, and after that sun went down in between the men and women's game, it has gotten chilly, Zach. We'll see if maybe that has any kind of tight grip on the style of play we see here.
So far, we see Redeemer kind of pinned back in their zone. Now they'll try to start to work something out. Unable to get past, and this has been a lethal duo between Tierra Bennett and Doreen Anan Bediako. They have just been a really 1-2 punch. Working it through the backside here, Humber. They'll try to find an opening up this right wing. Isabella Benotto. She has been a really rather bright spot in these last couple games for the Hawks, the rookie right back here. Trying to find Oliveira and unable to connect there. So it looks like now Redeemer will try to take it back the other way. Try to set something up that right wing, but they're going to have to get past the fifth-year vet and Puntillo. Through ball here, but shutting it down, making the play is Doreen Anin Bediako.
And Volpe getting the start here for the Hawks today as the keeper.
Yeah, Volpe and Bernardi have kind of just been alternating, it feels like, throughout the year, you know, keeping both keepers fresh. They've both had relatively really strong years, so not surprised when you see kind of both of them needing to get those reps in. Good time here for Volpe to see some action again. It's been a little bit since she's played in a match. Last time out was September 20th at Fanshawe. On the far side, Calendar. One-on-one. Play moving up here. Redeemer. Again, they're a team that has been on the rise as of late. Winners of their last two. Trying to test this Humber Hawks women's soccer team that has been so good for so many years. There's been a ton of talent that has come through this program. Doreen plays it now over to Puntillo, and they're going to try to set something up here. Calendar tried to back foot it, and she'll settle it down and play right back to Puntillo.
Zach, you mentioned that 2-game win streak for this Redeemer team, and they're coming off a 4-0 win over Lambton just on Saturday. So not only is that fresh in their mind, you got to imagine that's kind of offensive performance might carry over a bit, but wait to see if the Royals can get that offensive pressure set up. Right now it's the Hawks with it deep in Royal territory.
Yeah, I was going to say, Mia Lavarado was working it up that right side, but the side of Redeemer able to shut it down.
Royals in that 4-goal performance just on Saturday, they scored early and often. 5 minutes in, Grace DeVries had the opening goal of that game, and then a couple more added before the 54th minute mark.
So slowly working it up here. It's still going to be Redeemer ball on the throw in here. Lavarado takes that away, trying to set up Spalla. Chantel Spalla, the firecracker it is for the side of this Humber Hawks women's team. I mean, she is, when she's on the field, it's electric. The emotions, everything. And she's trying to get her side sparked there with that play. Throw in here, and it's Benotto winning that one, and Spalla trying to take it away, but the back line of Redeemer holds on strong. Puntillo just out of the outstretched leg of Kaylee's Calendar.
Yeah, just go fade to black and then I'll kill it.
Working up the side, and Puntillo does a good job working the defense there.
All you did was click the fade to black on.
Arduini, number 2, playing through the midfield there.
So I just ended stream, and then all you have to do is click the stream on the VMix now too. It's still live, right? So you just stop that one.
Through the midfield, Oliveira Trying to spring Kayleese up top. Spalla has it, trying to spin and drive. Kicks that one right into the defender's. Looks like it's her arm.
Yes, straight key looks the same.
And I think they're going to call something, and I believe offside was the call, and it will be.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, it's good. So just call me right before you're going to start sending the signal again. Yeah, you can take it out. Just like because you want to reset for the next game, right?
When you look at the scoring leaders in the OCAA, really neither one of these teams have a person that's up near the top. A lot of these players are kind of tied at 2 or 3 so far in the season. Callender, Bennett, 2 players for the Hawks that are tied at 2. And you scroll down a little bit farther, Siders, I believe it's the team lead for Redeemer with 2. Spalla cutting back on defense, and that's really the full field pressure of Chantel Spalla. Working it up here, donning that captain's patch.
Yeah, Zach, I think for both these teams, in terms of the scoring, pretty spread out, right? No one player really taking the lead for either side over the course of the season. But, yes, for the Redeemer squad, the only player with more than 1 goal is Kendra Cedars. And the 4th-year player is, looking to maybe be that leader here. When you look back to that 4-0 performance for Redeemer against Lambton, it was Cedars who had the final goal of that game, adding to her season's total.
And, on the side of Humber, they've been blessed for so many years in the past with Caitlin Russell, somebody who can score a lot. And then you had before that, Kat Medeiros was here as well. And just a lot of Humber greats. Zanardi's another one. Just tons of players that have been here. They were able to either lead the league or be atop the league. This year, there's kind of a different look, kind of a different vibe with this team. As, they kind of go for a more 11 approach instead of, just trying to feed it to one person.
Yeah, and sometimes that can be quite positive to not necessarily have one player that is shouldering that much responsibility. And when you look at the Humber men's team we just saw in the previous game and just how much that offense can just come from a whole couple of different angles. And as you mentioned, it's been pretty balanced this year with the offensive contributions for the Hawks, and so far so good. They just have that one regulation loss, that coming at home actually to the Niagara Knights. So certainly a tough Knights opponent that both Redeemer and Humber are well aware of how tough that squad is. Here comes the Royals.
Good cut back here. Benotto right there stops that play. And to your point there, Humber, when they played Niagara, it was a goal that came just before halftime where they feel they probably should have tied that match. And it was just something where it just didn't go their way. Lady Luck wasn't on their side that day. But, if they play Niagara again, I feel like it'll be a different result because this Humber Hawks team, it feels as the season has gone on a little bit more, they're slowly growing, they're slowly playing a lot better, slowly playing a lot smarter. And Volpe will pick this one up, and they'll just play it along the back line. Again, the defense for the Hawks has really been the staple point so far this year. This team has been so good on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, for this Hawks team, Zach, the last 2 seasons have ended not quite the way they've hoped. Back-to-back silver medals at the OCAA championship, with Seneca capturing the provincial championship both of those years.
This one in the box, and near was Spalla, just couldn't settle it down. One mainstay that has been here with the Humber Hawks has been their goaltending. Isabella Bernardi. Yes, granted, she's only played 4 games, but she's only allowed 1 goal. And the save percentage, second best, or I guess tied for second best in the OCAA, only behind Diaco from Seneca, who has a .25 goals against average. Bernardi's tied with Kerr of Mohawk at .40. But Isabella Bernardi, again, is one of those players where when she's in the lineup, when she's in the net, you can hear her barking orders. You can hear her being a commander for her team. And it's just somebody that the Hawks are really happy to have back, especially after the injury she sustained a couple years ago.
Well, you know, you come to the Humber Hawks program and high standards, right? You see there that backdrop all those years on those banners for when the men's program has captured the national championship. And on the women's side, you look at the provincial level, Zach, and the Humber Hawks women's soccer team, the last time they didn't win some provincial hardware was 2015. And so it just kind of highlights how much the, expectations are high when, these Humber soccer teams take the field. We'll see how things will shake out. But as I mentioned, Humber, after back-to-back silvers, maybe hoping to improve that this year in a tough OCAA women's kind of conference.
And, there's tons of OCAA action going on tonight, obviously, like you mentioned, or like was going on earlier. I shouldn't say like was mentioned. What was going on earlier. The men's team taking on Redeemer. They won that one. The Humber men's baseball team actually is also in action over at Connorville Park. They are taking on the Lambton Lions, and they just won their first game. I believe it was 9-6 or 9-5. 9-6.
Let's say 9-5. No.
I was wrong. It's okay. Memory of a goldfish over here, partner.
Elsewhere in the OCAA, no shortage of women's soccer games popping off right now. Other than this matchup here, you've got 4 other contests. Sheridan and Mohawk are in the 35th minute with a 1-goal game there in favor of the Bruins. Loyalist and St. Lawrence are in a 0-0 game in the second half. And Niagara-Conestoga with the Knights with a 1-goal lead. So that very tough opponent, Niagara Knights, in OCAA women's soccer continues to have a good regular season outlook here.
Yeah, again, 9 goals scored, only 2 allowed. That defense, I mean, it is suffocating. They are so strong defensively, are the Niagara Knights. And, that's only the West Division. We look over at the east side of the bracket. It is really ran by 3 teams, Algonquin, Centennial, and Seneca. But I think the thing that is most mind-boggling to look at is Seneca. They're 6-0. They've scored 30 times and only allowed 1 goal so far this year. They have been picture perfect, to say the least.
That's a good ratio. Yeah, 3 undefeated teams in the OCAA East Division. As we mentioned, Seneca is the back-to-back provincial champion. This would be their 3-peat opportunity this year. And Zach, it wasn't that long ago, Seneca, as part of this back-to-back championship run, also won the national title. So certainly just here in the province of Ontario, some stiff competition. And we'll see how the Hawks fare as they push deeper into their regular season.
Well, if you look at the latest OCAA rankings, CCAA rankings, Seneca actually ranks 3rd overall. Centennial is 5th. Algonquin sits 8th. And surprisingly, sneaking onto that list at 15 is St. Clair. So that is the CCAA rankings. Humber was actually ranked 15th last time the rankings came out. St. Clair now just jumping them in those rankings.
They nudged us out of that spot, Zach, and certainly a strong season for St. Clair. No regulation losses, Zach. 3 wins and 3 ties.
Yeah,
1 fewer game played than Humber.
Yeah, and at the start of the season, Humber was actually ranked 8th. So, the CCAA rankings that they've seen, they've thought this team has slowly kind of fallen off. But when you watch the product on the field, it seems kind of the opposite. This is a launch shot by Spala.
Wow.
Save made. But just to finish my point, it kind of feels like the opposite because it feels like this team has gotten better as the season's gone on. Obviously, they had that 2-game lull where things were kind of confusing. The offense wasn't there. But really, ever since that, they've been playing a really good brand of football.
Well, that was such an opportunity there. Just strike came in from downtown, but it was placed in a dangerous spot. Now Redeemer looking to maybe place one in a dangerous spot here as they turn it over.
Binotto stepping up, makes that play. And you mentioned Redeemer try to counter ever so quickly. If you're the Humber offense, you look to your 2 prolific attackers on that left side in Spala and Callender. They have really led the way when it comes to the offense. You have Mia Lavorado as well, stepping in there from time to time, but it mainly has just been Spalla and Calendar doing really the Lord's work there.
Humber certainly like to pepper the net, Zach. They are second in the OCAA in terms of shots. Beautiful move there between the legs. Not able to get to that second level and break through. But a high skill soccer play right there.
Yeah, and again, that's Mia Lavorado, who has been so good for the Humber Hawks here this year. When you look at what, coming into the season, Humber trying to find their identity once more, and Lavorado, the first-year player out of Vaughan, has been pretty solid. Spalla stepping up here, working with Oliveira. And they're going to try to springboard Lavorado here. Up the right side into the box goes Mia Lavorado, cuts back, but the defense steps up and makes the play. Not giving up just yet. Here is number 9, now to get kicked out of bounds. But how about that? Mia Lavorado has a good run up the side, a really good pass from Lisa Oliveira. Trying to cut inside to Spalla, and well, Chantel Spalla, the turn and burn shot. That one doesn't work that time.
Nice October 1st sunset happening in the background. And quickly interfered with there. It looked like maybe Humber could have got something cooking off that. But
this is a fight for it here. Bennett's going to step up and she'll make the play. Gets it all the way back here to Volpe.
Zach, we won't see Humber back in action here until next Wednesday. So they'll have a week off to, interact with their final game, 3-game homestand here. But hoping to make this second of 3 home games in a row. A productive one is still scoreless here as we approach the 20-minute mark.
Anine Bediako in the corner here does a really good job on the defensive side of the ball, holding Joelle Mitten in the corner, and looks like a corner kick coming up. So this could be the best attempt we've seen on the day for the side of Redeemer to possibly get something going here. The offense, it's been stagnant. Nothing has really been clean so far as we're just closing in on the 20th minute here. Again, this is a very young Humber Hawks team, 9 first-year players. As the kick comes in, looks like it's close post, but this bounces all the way to the back. Off another head to the net. Volpe will make the save.
Yeah, that ball was just kind of popcorning around off a few craniums, Zach, but ultimately just calm and cool was the keeper and able to track it down once it finally made its way towards the net.
And Volpe in net makes another big-time save. I know you see a Volpe. No, it's not Anthony Volpe of the New York Yankees. It's Angela Volpe of the Humber Hawks.
Yeah, settle down, baseball fans.
Exactly. Over into the corner here. Again, Redeemer are going to try to get something generated, but this defense, again, Calendar wanted that call. She wanted the thrown for the Hawks. Thought it went off the leg of the attacker. But going back on the youth of this team, only 2 fifth-year players, Tierra Bennett and Kiera Puntillo. Those are the only 2 that are fully done after this collegiate season. Everybody else, you have a couple, you pepper in a couple 4th years and 3rd years, but for the most part, it's a lot of first-year players and second-year players on this Humber Hawks team. As the offense, again, trying to pressure Spalla at the line. That goes out of bounds. That was Brooke Walker, who was trying to take the ball at the line, but kind of just lost her footing, it looked like. This one goes down, and it's going to be an opportunity for it. Coming out making a save is Volpe.
Yeah, stepping out that time. It will be Redeemer's ball with the throw in there on that far side. But yeah, that was just that kind of play. Stepping out and putting things to a pause for the time being. We'll see if the Royals can whip up another offensive drive.
It was Joel Mitten that was closing in on the ball there. Volpe recognized that and came out and played it beautifully. So we still stay 0-0. We're crossing over the 22nd minute here in this one. Both sides have started to kind of pick up the pace a little bit, but for the most part, it's been Humber really in control of this game. Played to the back line. Tierra Bennett works it up slowly, but they can't find an opening. This gets boomed down the field into the waiting legs of Kaylee's Calendar. Kaylee's trying to use the speed to cut the corner. Defender draped all over her. And they get inside to Spalla. Can't finish the play. Bounces around, but Chantel Spalla not giving up on it. It will eventually go out of play, and Humber will have the throw-in.
Yeah, see if the Hawks can maybe lean on their opponent a little bit here as they're deep in the Royals zone. Still scoreless here, 23 minutes in.
Playing it down the line, and Binotto will have it to Bennett. And they work a nice little sequence in through the middle of the field here. Trying to transition, find an opening up one of these wings. Doreen, a booming kick down to Mia Lavorado. Can she get there in time? And she does. No, she doesn't. Thought she caught it, but
close.
It just went over that goal line. This gets booted right down the field, and Humber trying to get something. Looks like we're going to have a couple subs coming in for the side of the Hawks. Over to the side and still played through the middle. Reading it correctly, looks like it's going to be number 14, Michaela Orico, coming on in, as well as number 19, Olivia De Cesar. Cross into the middle, not going to connect with anybody from Redeemer, so Humber going to try to counterattack quickly. Oliveira has a lot of room up the field. Defender slowly crashing on her now, and she'll just boot it upfield. Trying to get it to the cutting Lavorado, but pass a little bit too far.
And so DeYoung able to get a handle on it as the keeper for the Royals hasn't seen a whole lot in terms of being tested so far. Let's say maybe Volpe's been a little busier, Zach, at this stage of the game.
They played all the way back here to Volpe.
A little dangerous here, Zach.
Well, a good pressure being put on here by Redeemer. Now Humber, they have some room. They'll try to turn and burn. Looking for a pass up front. Calendar. Can she get to it first? No, she can't. The keeper comes out and makes that play.
I like the effort there and the stretch pass that almost, gave Humber a chance for a good opportunity into the zone, but was handled nicely. And now it's the Royals bouncing back here.
That was Sarah DeYoung, number 27, who's in net here for the side of Redeemer. It looks like Spalla and Lavorado are the two that are coming out in favor of Michaela Orico and Olivia De Cesar.
Not surprised to see Spalla get that rest, Zach. You see that sort of high-intensity style of play, and that certainly could leave one a little tired. So we'll certainly see Spala checking back in as her contribution so valuable and all the effort that she gives. And like you mentioned as well, Zach, just the overall intensity she brings to the table.
Santaguita trying to set up the newly entered in Orico, but can't connect there. On the far side, looks like Desizare has switched with Kaylee's calendar. Kaylee's will go to the middle now, kind of play that more predominant striker role. Kayla Santaguita trying to stop that play. She does just that. And here it is, the fresh legs of Desizare. Played all the way to the back, and once again, it'll be Tiara Bennett taking it upfield, looking for an opening. Well, through the early minutes, Humber really dictated the pace and possession of the ball, but as we've continued on here in this match, Redeemer, they've been getting their chances ever so slowly. Played through the middle. Oliveira trying to spring calendar. Here she goes, Kaylee's calendar into the goaltender, and DeYoung will make the save. Into the midfield. Redeemer win that battle here. Now can they get something going on offense? And looks like they'll have a free kick.
So Redeemer still kind of hanging on to it here, Zach, and certainly their offensive time of possession has been a little greater than the Hawks have mustered so far in this first half.
As here's a golden play, Redeemer the cross in, and it's not going to connect with anybody. Can Humber get out of harm's way? They can. They slowly work it up the field. Now they get it all the way up to the striker of Kaylee's calendar. Can she get anything going here? Trying to counterattack, and that's just out of the range of Michaela Orico. Bonotto, heavy body thrown there, goes out of bounds. Redeemer will have the throw-in. Brooke Walker will be the one to take it here.
That one looked close to being out of play, but we'll carry on here as the Hawks are retreating back in their own end.
Yeah, it looked like Kendra Cedars just tried to keep that one in, and she just does on the line. But Humber will ultimately end up getting the possession, and again, we'll try to work it down the field here. But will they be able to get one across that goal line? So far, Redeemer, the defense, and the goaltender DeYoung have been so good, not allowing really anything from the side of the Hawks offensively.
And taking a spill there, and free kick for the Hawks. Now, Zach, what can Humber get out of this one? We've certainly highlighted just how strong Redeemer's defense has looked over the course of the season. So Humber looking for maybe some sort of opening to put a stamp early on this scoreless match. Not a bad effort with the header going wide, Zach, but all in all, the Hawks will need to get a lot more of that because, again, from my perspective, my judgment, it's really been the Royals who have been able to control the ball a little bit more here and maybe have a little bit more of that momentum at this stage in the game.
Newly entered player here, it's number 10, Tatiana Pellegrino. And really, when you look at this game, yeah, through the early stages, it was Humber controlling the pace of play, controlling the ball, doing a really good job finding openings. And here we've seen Redeemer kind of come alive a little bit. The offense slowly grows. They've had more and more chances. But as I'm saying that, Humber are trying to put together another opportunity here on the far side. Oliveira is the one kind of dictating that play, but it gets cleared out. Here come the Royals once more, but ultimately it won't lead to anything. It will roll at a play. "32 minutes here, closing in towards the end of this half. Again, if you're just tuning in, Zach Benoit alongside Matt Hamill. Game 2 of 2 between Humber Hawks and the Redeemer Royals. The first match we saw the men's team take that victory 5-1. And here in this one, it's kind of just been a back and forth affair. Neither team able to put one in the back of the net just yet. Humber have had their chances. Redeemer have had their chances as well. Bennett working it along the back line with fellow fifth-year player Kiara Puntillo. Up to the side, Puntillo here again. First touch there, a little bit too strong.
Yeah, you're going to start sending signal. Yep, you just press screen and it'll send to me. Yeah, you don't have to do fade to black because I'll just bring it in.
Out wide, Humber. But again, the defense stepping up mightily for the side of Redeemer. They've bent, but they haven't broke here in the first halves. Great slide tackle by Anine Bediako.
Well, Zach, for Humber trying to maybe improve their position in this OCAA West Division, not good news as you look to the Niagara game against Conestoga. The Knights are now up 3-0, 72 minutes into the second half. And so it does look like the Niagara Knights are on pace to perhaps add another win and create a little more separation. So all these games so important in a 10-game regular season. We'll see if Humber can have a good performance here tonight and maybe keep things close, neck and neck with that Niagara Knights team.
That was a fight down the right side calendar with one of the defenders. In the corner, the Hawks here trying to strike. Orico, the cross, but it gets deflected away. They still keep it in. Benotto trying to find something here, but again, the defense bending but not breaking has really been the motto of the Redeemer Royals here in this one. Who will strike first? Like you mentioned, partner, in a 10-game season, you know, every little game matters. Every little moment matters. And Humber just trying to keep it close here with the Niagara Knights. Again, obviously, if the season ended today, Niagara and Humber, well, they would be tied here when it comes to the points. Both teams 14 points total. Humber, if they can pull away with a victory here, it would speak volumes for them. But one thing I am noticing is that Niagara actually does have a game up on Humber, and that's why they're tied currently. Niagara only playing 6 games so far. Tonight they're 7th. Humber playing 7. Tonight is their 8th. Corner kick here from the Hawks to the back post. Connecting over the crossbar was Doreen Anand Bediako.
Yeah, my goodness.
Oh, actually, I believe it was Tiara Bennett. She might have caught that one awkwardly. Might have been off of just the eyebrow, possibly. Not really sure. So it looks like Tiara Bennett will come off the field here.
Yeah, walking right in front of us here in the broadcast booth, looks to be in some discomfort.
Yeah, just on that header, not sure if it possibly just might have caught her off the front side instead of catching the top of her head, but she'll come right back into this one. Absolute trooper is number 24. Again, one of 2 fifth-year vets. As we officially are under 10 minutes left to go here in the first half. Again, it's still 0-0 here in this one. These two teams going back and forth and just trying to see who's going to be the one to break the two-game winning streaks, excuse me. The Royals, again, they're coming into this Humber Hawks game very hot. Humber, they've gotten better and better as each game has gone on this season. It's Bennett now on the back line. Looking for Michaela Rico, but this pass a little bit too long. This play here, Rico's going to come away with it, but challenged immediately by the defense. Good job to settle it down and get some help from the teammates as Michaela Rico still trying to find an opening. Gives it off to Calendar, trying to find Rico again. And the pressure, though, of Humber, that's been the tone setting here. Arduini playing it through the middle. Now it's Santaguita. Can't find an opening there, and this shot on net just sails high and out of play. Boom downfield, Humber, take it away. Trying to spark something before the end of the half. Calendar to the outside, De Cesare. Can't connect with anything there. And again, it's been a defense first kind of game here, partner. Really.
Yeah, and it did look like just a moment ago, Humber did kind of have a good spring in their step. Looked like they had numbers, but the pass just kind of slowed things down. So now the Hawks back to the midfield area, regrouping and hopefully find a way to find a gap in this very tight Royals defense.
You can see across the back line, though, the Royals just playing just a complete four-woman back.
Yeah, and as we head into the kind of home stretch of the first half here, yeah, not too sure if we'll see either team able to solve the puzzle and maybe take a lead into halftime. But as it stands right now, scoreless match, and yeah, you highlighted it, Zach. The defense taking center stage.
That's been the story of the match so far, and again, this Royals team, they've continued to get better as the game has gone on, really pushing the Hawks to their limits here. Playing to the side. This is a favorable bounce right to Michaela Rico. Rico trying to spring an attack, Santaguita through the middle, and it gets shut down quickly. The one thing for the Hawks that has been so good has been this duo center back combination of Doreen and Tierra, and they try to spring up Orico, and this is out of play. Throw in here for the Hawks, I believe. No, they're going to call it a goal kick. Goal kick, stopped by Benotto. And here comes Redeemer once more. And this play, this one will go out of bounds. Good toss in right there. They get it in quickly, is the student staff that's here in front of us. Oliveira trying to get something going, but again, shut down quickly. The Royals not allowing Humber to really feel comfortable in the offensive half, but hold on, Puntillo, a one-woman wrecking crew, just broke through 2 defenders. The third one was able to get the ball out of bounds. Humber will have the throw in here and possibly a little spark in their offense. 3 minutes left to go here of regulation time in the first half. To the back line now. Trying to spring Orico again, and this is just too far, can't get to her.
So, Zach, just a few minutes left here, and yeah, it just kind of seems like business as we've been seeing it, as this scoreless tie remains the number situation, but it'll be Humber ball here, Zach, pretty deep in Royals territory. Maybe some magic here to change the tone and ride into half with the wind at your back, but maybe not.
Yeah, and if you're a fan of defense, this is the game you want to tune into. Really, both sides haven't allowed anything as Doreen Anine Bediaco draws that call. So Humber will have the free kick in their own territory, and that, good thing Doreen was able to draw that one, because if she wasn't, that was a free attack for the side of the Royals. Looked again, number 2, Joelle Mitten, who was trying to cut up the side here against Anine Bediaco. Oliveira, the cross inside. They connect on the far side to Cesare. Inside, one-on-one. Still fighting for it, and it's going to be a goal kick.
Yeah, so many Royals players in the neighborhood, Zach. So for the lone Humber attacker, just trying to barrel through these layers of defenders, and maybe a little too aggressive for the whistle drawn there.
So Redeemer slowly working it up the side here. Spinning inside now. 30 seconds left to go until we hit that 45th minute. Partner, what do you think the stoppage time will look like? I think the ref just signaled 1. As I looked up to look at him, I think he just signaled 1 minute of stoppage time.
Yeah, I couldn't see any reason to add a whole lot of extra time, and so we'll see. Not a lot of left time to work with here before we head into the break, but another stretch pass by Redeemer.
Mitten, but again, it's this center back duo of Tierra and Doreen that just shut things down. That is a beautiful, beautiful drop back by number 24 and 13.
Yeah, and you saw Volpe come out and saw some maybe members of Hawks Nation have their heart skip a beat there, because it was a wide open cage, but Humber able to regroup and keep it scoreless game.
Oh, and Kelly's Calendar just offside. She was going for a run, but so very close there for number 4. This is the big play out of Doreen and Tierra. Look at this. They shut down Mitten, but not giving up was Doreen, and just clears it on out. And that'll be the half. So after 45, the score remains 0-0. We'll take a quick little break. I mean, it's just been a defensive first half, to say the least, partner.
No question.
We will take a quick break. Go get yourself some food. Go use the bathroom if you need to. Freshen up, but come back for more OCAA women's soccer action here from Vaughan. Well, welcome back, everybody, to second half action. Again, Humber taking on Redeemer. And right out of the gate, the Humber Hawks look like they're trying to spark something on offense. It's Olivia DeCesare, and her shot on net. DeYoung able to corral that one. Again, the first 45 really was just kind of a feel-out process between these two teams. Nobody able to really get any golden opportunities. Humber had a couple, but Redeemer, they had a couple chances as well, just couldn't really find anything. Again, a lot of OCAA women's soccer action today. Earlier today, out in Lambton, it was a 5-0 victory for the St. Clair Saints. Niagara, again, taking on Conestoga. We were talking about that one a little bit. Niagara has officially now won that one 4-0. Mohawk and Sheridan played in Hamilton, and it was Sheridan winning that one 1-0. As here's another opportunity. DeCesare in the corner. She gets there first. Now can she create herself some space? Finds it over to Spalla. Chantel Spalla with the cross inside. Calendar gets to it, but can't get enough room to turn and burn a shot. Sophia Aguiar, newly checked in here for the second half, number 21. And Benotto, find Aguiar, cross to the box. Spalla gets there, but just headers it right back to the corner. Couldn't get it to turn the way she wanted, so it still remains a 0-0 game. Another game that happened today, Loyalist and St. Lawrence. That one ended in a 0-0 draw out there at Kingston campus at the South Field. And then the one game that's coming on later at 8:15, it's the Centennial Colts taking on the Seneca Sting, and what really should be a good matchup. Again, Centennial sit 5th in the CCAA. The Sting sit 3rd. Two teams that have had a red-hot game. So once you're done watching this one, I suggest going over to watch that one. It's a battle for second place between those two teams as they are trying to catch up to the 7-0 Algonquin Wolves. Here's Redeemer, an opportunity, and the Royals cash in. It's number 3, Kendra Cedars, that's able to break through the defense. A little bit of a miscue from this Humber Hawks defense, and Cedars able to put it in the back of the net. Volpe did everything she could. 1-0 Redeemer Royals. Here's another look at it as it was bouncing around and just two players kind of colliding with each other. And Cedars able to come away with that one. Humber, they trail 1-0 as we are in the 48th minute of this match. The Hawks trying to get some offense sparked. Redeemer kind of get gifted a goal there. It was just a miscue between two Humber Hawk defenders, something we haven't really seen out of this Humber Hawks team in a couple of games. But that is a big-time moment here. Redeemer take a 1-0 lead on the Kendra Cedars goal.
Yeah, and Zach, full disclosure, I was just walking back from the main building while that goal happened, and I was right behind the net as that was scored, and just an excellent finish there. And how about that for a momentum play early in the half?
And they have another opportunity here, and it's Joelle Mitten inside. Can't finish that one. So early on in the second half, Redeemer, they've come out with a little bit of life here.
Yeah, and the vibes are sky high, Zach. I mean, did you see that celebration, the kind of reaction from the bench? I think that is wind in the sails of the Royals, and we'll see how long they can maybe maintain that, Zach. Does that sort of shift the kind of tone of this game, or can the Hawks respond and land a counterpunch? But right now it's a big early second half goal for the visiting team in red.
Yeah, if you're Humber, what is the response going to be? And you need it to come quickly as Kaylee's Calendar trying to get something going, and defense will take it away from her. Booting it right back down the field. Opportunity going forward to Cesare between two defenders. Spalla's there as well. Chantel Spalla now. Drop it back to Oliveira. Offside called, and you can see by the facial expression of Chantel Spalla, she does not agree
Well, not a bad effort there. I mean, you like how the Hawks are able to drive in. Looked like maybe something dangerous was about to pop off for those Humber offensive players, but negated by the offside call. We'll see if Humber can still put the pressure on and answer as they now trail one.
Well, they're trying to spark something up this right wing. So far, they haven't been able to break through. Defense trying to step up, and Redeemer, they've played that to perfection. Trying to counter here to Mitten. Volpe will get to it. Was going to play it off of a hop, and then realized she can play it in the box. So I had to take a couple of steps back. Up the middle to Aguiar. She's trying to find to Cesare. Good job here by Oliveira, one of the vets on this team. I think that's going to go on to Humber. It is. It's going to be Redeemer ball here. So no substitutions coming in, but there's going to be a positional change on the field. The head coach of the Redeemer Royals was just saying, switch the players. Abby Wynia switches with number 24, Brooke Walker, and that could be because we were just seeing the offense of Humber really work it up that right side, and that's where Wynia was. So they switch her with Brooke Walker, who had a pretty solid first half, possibly seeing into the Humber Hawks game here.
Yeah, we saw Humber really take that ball down the field effectively, and the last thing Redeemer would want to see is that hard-earned goal, the lone goal of this game, being negated by a quick strike back. And, you know, you think about just how emotionally charging that goal was just a few moments ago, and Humber trying to get it back, but
this is going to go all the way into the waiting arms of DeYoung. So again, Sarah DeYoung, what a game she's had. She's really shut down the offense for the side of the Hawks. This gets kicked down by Anine Bediako. Here comes Humber with an opportunity. Arduini trying to spring Calendar, but again, the positional change. Brooke Walker now playing left back. She shuts that down quickly. And again, Kaylee's Calendar, tons of speed for the Humber Hawks in the offensive half, so maybe that was the reasoning why they wanted to get Brooke Walker over there, kind of match the speed of Calendar. Kick downfield, and Redeemer, they're going to have the midfield battle won for now as they try to spring something forward here. And Humber will get to it first. This gets booted down the field by Volpe. Thrown to the close side, played back here to Tiara Bennett. And Bennett kind of goes down awkwardly. She springs back up right away, but definitely something to monitor as the second half kind of continues. They're going to Calendar. Kaylee's Calendar cuts inside. She has a step on Wynia. Calendar gets tripped, and they're not going to call anything in the box. And I think the ref's going to call a goal kick as well. So kind of a double whammy there for the side of the Hawks. They don't get the call. They don't get possession. And a really good offensive run kind of just turns to nothing here.
yeah, you said it. That was certainly a disappointing outcome for Humber, but a promising drive towards the net and a really talented Humber player, as you highlighted with Calendar quarterbacking that one.
And going the other way quickly, here are the Redeemer Royals. They're into the offensive front now. Good defensive stop by Puntillo. But the ball still just going into the box. Going to be handball. Volpe will have the kick. Here's another look at the Kaylee's calendar run that she had. And
I mean, certainly the body language from the defender didn't look good. That you see, and she seemed like she maybe thought that the big call was coming, but it did not. And the Royals able to get out of that jam without any penalty kicks to threaten this 1-goal lead.
yeah, usually when you see the defender like that, you kind of just assume, oh no, that's not going to go the way that they're hoping. But in that case, she saw the ref's call and said, yep, that's exactly how I drew it up. Oliveira working it down here to Spalla. Chantel Spalla with a head of steam. The cross comes in, but it's too far over the head of Calendar. And it goes to the other side, but it looks like Calendar is going to be the one to pick it up. Number 4 trying to work it down low here. The low cross gets cut off immediately here by Redeemer. Puntillo tried to step up, and that hops over her leg right into the waiting legs of Joelle Mitten, who has been quiet today, but she's had her opportunities. Ooh, and Bennett again kind of gets tripped up there. So Mitten will have an opportunity. The cross to the middle, the shot off the post. Redeemer still threatening. It gets bounced around, kicked in front to the corner. And Volpe makes the save, makes another save. The Hawks desperately trying to get it out of their own zone, and they will. Oh my Lanta. How did the Humber Hawks just survive that?
Yeah, what a remarkable stand there in the defensive end. I mean, we could have a couple different plays in that sequence isolated for replay. I mean, Zach, I don't know. I mean, that looked close, partner, in terms of did that ball cross the line? I mean, our replay will do our best job to ascertain, but our camera just off of the yellow card being issued here on the right side of the frame.
Angela Volpe with maybe the biggest sequence of this game. She's going to have to go over to the post and give it a hug because that post really started all of that. But I believe that yellow card went to number 18, Audrey Benjamins. Oh, my Lord.
Okay, Zach, it's going to be a lot to unpack here, as they say. Now, here on our HSN replay, the off-the-post shot was the first one. Just a beautiful opportunity. Volpe with the dive, and then second, third, fourth. Oh, that was right up on there. You see a number of Royals are hollering that, hey, we think that's a goal. And, I mean, I think it's a toss-up, Zach.
It's a close play nonetheless, but at the end of the day, I mean, Angela Volpe just made 2 or maybe 3 huge saves. Not to mention, I saw Tierra Bennett in that replay. She also had a block shot as well. So the attacker beat her on the initial attempt to allow the shot to hit off the post. And then Bennett just gets right back into the defensive front and makes a big-time play.
Yeah, give credit to the Hawks for keeping it a 1-goal game, and Volpe was just absolutely having to cover a lot of ground on that play and did enough to keep one off the board. So the Royals certainly turned on the offense, Zach. It's funny, we talk about in the first half the defensive overtones of that, and now the offense really opening up on both ends, but especially for Redeemer, who narrowly found themselves a 2-goal lead. They still sit with a single-goal lead here.
De Cesare inside the box, one-on-one with the defender, cuts inside to the corner, and it gets cleared. Throw-in most likely coming the way of Humber, and it will. Oh, man, Redeemer, they are fired up. The men's team is sitting over there in the bleachers. They were trying to get a Let's Go Royals chant started. The bench, the players on the field are feeding off this energy. They're playing a little bit faster here.
I'm telling you, partner, on account of my tardiness, I was right behind that.
Here comes Calendar, the shot. Try to get the left foot to curl it, but it looks like it rolled over the top. Couldn't get any spin to cut to that left post.
To finish that thought, as that first Redeemer goal early in this half, I was just feet away walking behind the net back to the broadcast booth. And, yeah, I mean, you saw what a beautiful setup. And then just the elation of the not just players on the field, but the whole Redeemer bench. And that certainly has given them a spark. And they've been continuing to push forward with that as they're going to keep possession here deep in their own end.
Yeah, Humber, again, they're kind of in desperation mode to tie this one up, but if you're the side of the Hawks, you don't got to change up your game plan. You've had a good game up to this point. Really, it was one mistake that is the turning point of this one so far. Humber really has played a strong game. It was just kind of two defenders colliding with one another, and then Kendra Cedars was able to pick up the scraps. And that's kind of where we stand in this match. As this is crossed inside, looking for Spalla. Chantel Spalla can't settle that one down. De Cesare will kick it, and it'll go out past that goal line. Trying to pass it up quickly here to Aguiar. Humber trying to get a little bit more aggressive here. They go down that left wing. Connect with Puntillo. Trying to cut inside to De Cesare, and they can't connect. Redeemer slowly pushing the pace back over to midfield.
Once again, look at the Royals here streaming in, but the Hawks trying to disrupt, but boy, oh boy, how about all the energy? And you mentioned it, Zach, the men's team for the Royals, they're cheering hard in that section. All part of this high momentum affair for the visiting team here thus far.
Yeah, they have brought the energy, to say the least, and they're really kind of fueling this women's team right now. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, or if you know, partner, when it comes to a victory in soccer, I believe it's 3 points per victory. It would have to be double checked, but if Redeemer are able to hold on here, not only will, that help them a lot, as this is another opportunity that just gets booted out of the way by Dorina Neen Bediako.
Well, you are right, Zach. It is 3 points for a dub and a single point for the tie, and Humber has seen 2 ties on top of their 4 wins.
Michaela Santagira coming on here for Elisa Oliveira. But what I was going to say, partner, is with a victory here, Redeemer, they will jump into a tie for 4th place with Conestoga and Mohawk, who both have 10 points apiece. And then if they are somehow able to go on a little bit of a run where they continue with their hot play, they're right back in it. They'll be sitting at 13 points if they win their next 2, including if they win this one and their next one, which is a tough one against the Niagara Knights. But they're right back in it for, possible seeding here in the West Division.
Yeah, you said it, partner. Down the stretch of the regular season, you take on a top opponent in the West Division in the Humber Hawks, and so far sitting pretty. But yes, the Niagara Knights, who just leaped into first place after a 4-0 victory earlier this evening, Zach, and so that helps create a little separation, putting Niagara in the lone spot for first in the division.
Yeah, Niagara sitting now at 17 points. Humber sits at 14. Again, with a victory tonight, Humber would be able to tie Niagara, but the Knights still have a game on hand on the Humber Hawks. But the way it's gone right now, it's been looking a lot like the Redeemer Royals might steal this one. Mia Lavorado checking on in for Olivia De Cesare.
Humber's rest of the road here, Zach, looking a little less daunting than the Royals. You look at the Royals taking on Niagara next, so tough opponent, right? But for the Hawks, I mean, they certainly have their work cut out for them, but they'll be taking on Conestoga at home next Wednesday. A Conestoga team that is 3-3-1, and then they'll welcome Sheridan, a team who currently sits second last in the West Division.
Sheridan actually just got their second victory of the year tonight. They won 1-0 against Mohawk, which is, again, a big statement game because that puts Sheridan up to 7 points as well. So really this West Division just kind of gets tighter and tighter when you look at it. Sheridan 1-4-1. They'll be 2-4-1 now. And they have just kind of snuck their way back, possibly, into just disrupting the standings here in the West. Anine Bediako working it up here. Things getting interesting as we get to the dog days of the season. You know, obviously it's just a short season, 10 games, but really anything can happen as here is Kaylee's calendar. Trying to cut inside, and Wanya gets there first, but Santagira cuts this one off. The shot didn't curl at all. Looked like she was trying to hope that it would curl a little bit to the net, but it went to the corner. Goal kick coming up.
Yeah, got away from her, and that will allow Redeemer at least a chance to disrupt the offensive flow. And the Hawks will get it back here with the throw-in as they look to put the pressure on. You know, Zach, the Hawks have yet to lose a game this year. Pardon me, they had that one regulation loss against Niagara here at home earlier, but looking to avoid another regulation loss, and that would be huge to stay in it for that fight at the top of the OCAA standings.
Redeemer working it slowly now. This gets booted down the field, and looks like Bennett will be the first one there. She is. Gets it to Volpe. But not out of danger just yet. And, ooh, looks like Arduini got stepped on there, and she'll be okay. Still kind of favoring the foot a little bit. Shot in, kind of rolls off the foot of the attack. Volpe will pick it on up, and she'll try to get something going for her side. Again, the Hawks currently now sit alone in second place with 14 points in the OCAA West Division. Niagara won tonight. Humber, with this game, they are trying to just continue to keep it close with Niagara. A team, like you mentioned earlier, that has been to the gold medal match back-to-back years. They've fallen short twice. Santagira inside, can't find anything there.
Well, Zach, you mentioned for Humber, they've brought home some provincial hardware every year since 2015, capturing one gold medal in that span. A lot of silvers, a stretch between 2016 and 2018 where they had 3 silvers in a row. Couple bronze mixed in there, so a long stretch of bringing home the hardware, but maybe not able to capture that gold as much as they would like, but still some promising prospects for this perennially competitive Humber team.
Yeah, and you saw for the longest time it was Fanshawe that kind of ran the table for 3 straight years from 2018 all the way to 2022. Humber took over for that 1 year. They battled Seneca, and then Seneca has just been able to run the bracket the last 2 years. They've been one of, if not the best teams in Ontario, but also in the CCAA. Really just a powerhouse team out there in the West, in the East Division. Kaylee's here, trying to get something going. They're stuck again on the defensive side of the ball, and at a play, throw in quickly. They go to Calendar. She just puts it back to the middle of the field, but there's only red jerseys all the way around. Redeemer, a lot of field to work with. Cross inside, Volpe gets there, bobbles it, she'll pick it on up and secure it. Volpe's kick to midfield and drop down. Humber will get it. It's Spalla. Spalla, the hard kick, was trying to find Collender. Here comes Chantel Spalla with a head of steam. Spalla cutting inside. Spalla defender gets dropped, and the ball will go out of play. And again, another physical, fast rush by number 17, but she can't find it. The defense holding it steady once more. Lavarado trying to settle that down, and it goes over to the right back, and it's Wynia just kicking it downfield, out of play. Calendar playing it over to Arduini. Lavarado can't settle it down, taken away once more. Redeemer trying to set up another play. This gets played all the way back to Volpe, who just hammers it back to midfield. Can it be kept in by Humber? It can be. It's Lavarado working there. Spalla, again with a head of steam, just goes down crashing to the turf. Trying to play it close here are the Hawks. 71st minute. Again, the Redeemer Royals, if you're just tuning in, they started off this second half on the right foot. They got the only goal of the match so far. It was a little bit of a miscue between the two defenders on the side of the Hawks. I believe it was Doreen Anine Bediaco and Sophia Aguiar who kind of collided with one another going for the ball. It popped out perfectly onto the waiting foot of Kendra Cedars, and that's the only tally of the game so far. Real back and forth affair, to say the least. Humber have played a good game. They just haven't been able to find the back of the net. The defense has been holding on strong for the side of the Royals. You can hear the men's team get a little bit more animated with every passing second. As this is going to go to the corner, kept in by Redeemer, and they're trying to double up their score here. Can the Royals find anything? It's a soft cross just at the top of the box. Winning the battle, turning and burning, but it goes out of play. Goal kick coming up. Humber have not been able to find anything offensively here in the second half. A lot of their chances came in the first half, but so far here, it's been real quiet for the Hawks. Again, the energy out of this Redeemer Royals team has been heavy, to say the least. Elisa Oliveira checking back into this match.
So, Zach, we're approaching the 74th minute, getting into the later stages here. Now, can Humber find a way to draw even, or do they pick up another regulation loss at home this year? Certainly not what they had in mind with this three-game stretch, as that's played a little too far out of reach and out of play.
Well, you look last year, this Humber Hawks team, they played extremely well at home. The last time they dropped a game at home was September 18th, before the game against Niagara. It was September 18th of last year against Conestoga in a 2-1 battle. A team that's usually been so strong when it comes to the home field advantage. This is cleared and booted down to midfield. Another cross coming in, and it's going to be called offside. So they threaten once more, but again, Redeemer not able to stay onside.
Humber really chasing after it there, Zach, and the Royals will just boot it out for now. So maybe as time ticks away here, the Hawks with a chance to set up shop in the offensive zone.
Yeah, it's going to be a throw in here for the Hawks. They elect to go short to Callender. Callender cuts inside, creates some space for herself to the line, and they're going to call goal kick again. So, again, Humber, they haven't had a set piece at all in this match. It's really just been Redeemer that's had the opportunity with a cross. Close but no cigar has really been the kind of theme for the Humber Hawks so far today. Mitten keeps it in on the line. But stopping it beautifully there is Doreen. Over to the corner. Trying to set up a play here, but it looks like Humber will hold it off. No, Mitten gets there first, and Mitten will just leave it in the corner. Again, all Redeemer really have to do is get to the 90-minute mark. They are in full control of this game right now. Humber just trying to get something going. That goes off of Mitten and out of play.
Good strip there, and the Hawks looking to bounce into the opponent's territory, but getting slowed down a little bit is Kaylee's Callender.
This gets booted right back into that corner again. This is just kind of the game plan of get it downfield. And then on defense, everybody just falls back beautifully. Look at this. They're just going to continue to play into the corner. They understand.
Yeah.
You heard from some of the players on the field. They just said 15 more minutes. That's all we got to do. It's 15.
Yeah, you mentioned it, Zach. This is right into the hands of the Royals right now. And look at the size mismatch we just saw a few moments ago. Is just pinning that ball in the corner deep in the Humber Hawks zone and chewing up clock as Volpe will boot it away and hopefully try to flip the field. And the Hawks need the ball on the opposite side here, but still contending with a lot of offensive possession time for the team in red.
Yeah, it's been a complete 180 of what the first half was. Humber was in control and had a lot of time of possession. This time, it's just been Redeemer who have stepped up mightily and kind of shut down the ladies in white here. They play it to the middle. Oliveira. Can she find anything? No, doesn't like the pressure that was there, so plays it back to Tiara Bennett. Over to the corner. Humber working up slowly, but again, this defense has been suffocating. Haven't allowed the Hawks to breathe really at all. As it's kicked down the field, Volpe will just get it and kick it to midfield, but it falls right onto the waiting foot of the Redeemer Royal, and more specifically, number 11, Aaliyah Breckelman. Oliveira takes it away beautifully here. Puntillo now working up the corner. Played inside by Callender.
Looks like Humber will call an audible here with some substitutions as we enter the last 10 minutes of regulation.
Looks like number 14, Michaela Orico, and number 7, Melina Acosta are the two that are prepared to check in. Kiara Puntillo, one of the players checking out. And on the far side, I believe that's Santagita who checked out for Acosta. But Humber going for a more offensive approach. They bring out some of their big hitters here, try to get something offensively sparked. Orico has been so good, kind of facilitating the offense. Plays that left wing back position. We talk about it in the men's games a lot with Luca Pinto, who does that extremely well. He plays more so not a traditional left back role, but a left wing back where he's able to just jump up on the plays, but also can drop back and play defense when it's needed. That's kind of the same thing with Michaela Orico here. Redeemer still hold the possession. Calendar trying to turn and burn, but the defense draped all over her, and here come the Royals once more. Bennett trying to shut things down, and she will. Acosta looks upfield, finds Spalla. Chantel Spalla sends a beautiful ball through to Oliveira, but it looks like the race is going to be won by number 15, Abby Wynia, once more. And that was the switch we saw earlier in the game where Wynia and Brooke Walker switched spots, and that impact it's showing here late in this one. Orico settles that down. And they're going to try to set her up down the left wing now. Wynia still playing good defense. How to play, throw in Redeemer.
Just have not seen Humber's offense really been able to set up shop here, Zach. And as the team now getting into that desperate need of a goal to equalize things here, just really not able to get cooking. And that's just been a credit to defensive play from Redeemer that's been strong all season long and has certainly been strong here tonight.
This gets played back here to Volpe, and she'll be the one to facilitate it. And Humber trying to get something going. Again, they haven't had a lot of time in the offensive half. Can they do it in the last 7 minutes? That's all they have left of regulation. I would presume we don't have a lot of stoppage because, again, this game has really just been back and forth, not a lot of stoppages. My guess it would be 1, maybe 2 minutes. Here's Chantel Spalla. Cuts back, doesn't like that run, gives it up to Orico. They play it back to Acosta. Can she find anything? A little too far out to turn and burn for a shot. Calendar, that pops off the leg of Spalla back to Calendar, but just out of her range. It's going to be a foot race. And that foot race is won by Aaliyah Bruckelman. Bruckelman up the right side, the shot to the net, to the corner. It's going to curl, keep on curling, and it looks like it's going to go out of bounds on the sideline. No, it's not. Kept in just barely by Redeemer, and this has been picture-perfect play in the second half here by the Royals. They got that first tally, and they have just been suffocating on defense. A beautiful through ball here. Can they set up a play? It's on the baseline at a play. Goal kick coming up.
Well, Zach, this is the kind of offensive pressure you might expect from the team that's trailing, right? And just that all-out offensive blitz, but it's still the Royals who are getting these opportunities and chances and really the better looking chances to score, and they were able to convert on one early in the second half. And 5 minutes and change left for the Hawks to get something going here and avoid a pointless outcome in this game in terms of we know we can get the big 3 points for the victory, the single point for the tie, and in a very tight race in the top of the OCAA West Division, Hawks can ill afford to come away empty-handed.
Well, I mentioned that Niagara, they won tonight,
Yep.
so they move up to 17 points. But St. Clair
So
also
St.
had a
Clair.
victory.
Yeah.
They're in sole possession of second place right now. Humber actually drops to third. And if the Hawks want to maintain second place or possibly a tie for second, they need to get a tally within the next 4 minutes and change.
Yeah, when teams are so bunched up in the standings, and just look at this excellent play here by the tall forward, Brukelman, just right in front of her own team's bench, and they've got to like how she's been able to just kind of, big sister. Some of these Hawks players win that corner, and even maintaining possession here with the throw-in are the Royals.
Yeah, and we've hit that point of the match where the Redeemer, they're going to take their time with everything here. Not in a rush whatsoever are the ladies wearing red as they're trying to spring possibly another attack. This is in and out of the hands of Volpe. Still inside the box. Mitten, her shot is over the net. And Humber will try to go quickly. Substitution coming on. It looks like it's again Olivia De Cesare, number 19. As Mia Lavorada will be the one subbing off. So can Humber find something to tie this game up, or a Redeemer going to come into the Zanchin Automotive Center and steal one away from the Humber women's team? Spalla looking for any opening, but this defense is just holding their ground. Player draped all over Spalla. Now Acosta looking for something. Finds a pass over to Bennett. 2.5 left to go here of regulation. We're at 87.30 on the time. Working it up slowly but surely. Acosta gets past one defender, gets away from a second. They're trying to keep it up with number 7, spinning around here. So they've worked it into the offensive half. Oliveira trying to find Spalla, and Chantel Spalla goes crashing into DeYoung.
Yeah, and that's a big collision. I think Spalla has earned herself a yellow card on that one. Both players looking a little shaken up.
Yeah, DeYoung will make the save. Spalla will get the yellow. So again, we're slowly creeping up to that 90th minute, but this is another look at it here. Spalla comes through, and yeah, she'll get that yellow. Acosta, good job to cut that one off, and Redeemer slowly working it up the field once more. Mitten now. You can see the all-out attack by the Hawks. They only have 2 players back. Now everybody able to drop back and get pressure, but look at Redeemer again are just going to hold it right in that corner. Had a play, throw in here for the Royals.
And look at that clock, Zach, as time ticking closer to that 90-minute mark. Less than a minute to go before we find out how much time might be added. As you speculated, Zach, probably not a whole lot of time to be tacked on.
So it sounds like there's going to be 3 minutes of stoppage time, and that kind of adds up. Again, there haven't been a lot of stops so far in this match, but for the most part, Humber have been battling. They're looking for something, and they understand in these last 3 minutes, it's crunch time, and you can see the white jerseys just screaming up the field. Orico, one-on-one with her defender, goes inside, tries to find Anine Bediako, who's hopping up into the offense now. You can see everybody from Humber is trying to push up into an attack. Haven't gotten anything clean here. Bediako now. That goes off of her foot at a play, throw in. No, it's actually going to be.
Yeah, that's a missed call there, no question. That clearly went off a Humber Hawk foot. Looks like the right call might be coming in.
Tatiana Pellegrino is coming back in here, number 10.
Oh, maybe not. Red ball is the official call.
Tatiana Pellegrino coming back in for the side of Redeemer, and they have the throw in. They go right down the line. Kicking it downfield, Spalla trying to set up Orico. Stepping up, Michaela Orico gets tripped up, no call. Picked up here by the side of the Royals. Going to work it down once more. Spalla hops on defense quickly, and that goes out of bounds off of a Humber Hawk. Well, partner, I mean, look where we are. 90th minute, Redeemer up 1-0, and this is kind of, might be one of the biggest shocks so far of this OCAA season for this Humber Hawks team. As again, both teams were coming in hot, riding 2-game win streaks. Redeemer, they really, really needed this to move up in the standings, and it looks like the way things are going right now, it's possible they're going to steal this one away from Humber, as here's an opportunity for Mitten. The pass to Pellegrino is a little bit off. Mitten is running from right side of the field to left side, and this is going to go out of play. Royals have the throw-in.
Yeah, heading in the wrong direction there for the Hawks, and it looks like the game plan for the Royals is just find that back corner, take your time getting there, let that clock keep melting away.
And they're going to keep melting it away here. Again, like you said, find the corner, and that's where they're going. Into the corner here, and they're going to hold it. Time dwindling down for the Hawks. Player gets pulled down. Free kick coming up here for the Royals.
Strong performance from Redeemer. It's going to be potentially a jubilant bus ride back to Ancaster for the visiting team here, but they're going to have to seal the deal. Not a whole lot of time left to work with.
Cross inside, Volpe diving save. Here goes Spalla. She just boots it down the field. It's going to be an all-out rush. Calendar, first one to get to it. Heavy contact, and that's going to be foul on the side of Redeemer as Calendar gets back up quickly.
Love that sportsmanship from Coretti. But for now, it's the Royals retreating. They need to make one more stand. Can't let it slip away if you're this visiting team trying to pull off the upset. Humber's got one more crack at it, Zach.
This is going to lead to a big scramble in the box. Humber, they're sending everybody up. Only person that's near midfield is the kicker, Elisa Oliveira. Everybody else is at the box. Can this be a game-deciding moment here? Cross inside, headered, out of play. And that's going to be the game. It gets headed out of bounds. Thought Humber might get the corner, but no. The Redeemer Royals come here to the Zanchin Automotive Center, and it's a shocking, shocking upset. A 1-0 victory against the Humber Hawks.
Look at that celebration, Zach, and that is a happy Royals team. We saw how they erupted after that lone goal early in the second half. That was the difference maker. The Hawks offense just did not get set up there throughout the game the way they needed to. And Redeemer's lone goal was enough to be the difference maker, and that will hand Humber their second loss of the season.
Humber will fall to 4-2-2 on the year. They drop to third place. Redeemer drop into a three-way tie for fourth place in the Western Division. They're winners of 3 straight. From everybody here on the broadcast team, Zach Benoit and Matt Hamill, we thank you so much for tuning into another HSN broadcast here in Vaughan, Ontario. We hope you have a fantastic rest of your evening.